guys, Claude Johnson here. Today I want to continue on in this series of kind of looking at this style of fast riffs and playing rhythmically. So, you know, you can play single notes and it still counts as a rhythm. We looked at this lick yesterday. Something like that with the seventh intervals. So check my other video on the pentatonic harmonies. But this one's even more simple in terms of what we're, like the notes we're playing. It's basically just like descending down these three notes, which seems really, you know, rudimentary, right? Just three notes in the pentatonic scale. But it's actually, like, I'm looking at that as notes out of the dominant chord. So there's your root, seventh, fifth. And this may seem like one of those beginner cliches, you know, when we start out where we quickly figure out that you can, like, do a hammer-on pull-off and maybe go to the next string. You know, I learned that really early on in guitar, but it was more of like a, you know, just like a lead guitar thing or something I would throw in. But you can actually use that as like a basis for your riffs. Okay, so we're looking at this again as like, even though I'm playing single notes, I'm looking at these riffs as rhythm parts. And when you play these like fast triplets, it almost reminds me of a concept I taught in my Supercharged Soloing Made Simple course years back, where I was talking about the difference between melody and texture. So when you throw in a lot of fast stuff, you lose the melody a little bit, but you're adding texture to it. And so it's often easier, like when you're playing these single notes, it's easier to play faster because that kind of holds things together as a kind of a texture. Makes it sound more musical. So there's not much of a real melody there. I'm just sort of outlining at least I'm not thinking of it as a melody. You could think of it as a fast melody, but I'm really just kind of noodling on this on these dominant seven notes. But notice how I'm starting off on the root in the triplet rhythm. 1, triple T, triple T, triple T, triple T, 1, 3. So trip T, trip T, trip T, trip T, right? On the 1. 2, 3, 4. It's a good way to start a riff. That's a whole other concept of starting on the root versus not starting on the root. But, you know, if there's a rhythm section behind you, then it makes sense, you know, you would start on the third, maybe it would sound more musical. But when you're playing everything, it's pretty solid to just start on the root there. So anyway, I'm doing this fast triplet where we squeeze in like three notes into the, I think it's squeezing three notes into the first two notes of that triplet, but I'm not going to go too deep right now in analyzing it. But let's just hear it. So rest. There's a rest on the fourth there. So, and then I do this. So there's another triplet. Now it may seem like there's 5 notes, but I think the 5th note just starts the next bar there. Just like on this one. Okay, there's 5 notes there if you count it that way. So anyway, let me try to just play the whole thing slowly for you. So that's and then go back to the 6, and then because I'm using so much texture there, I'm just trying to play something else on the 4 chord. I can go up to here, but I don't want to just make it boring like. You could do that. That's actually a great exercise. I was just trying to make it a little more interesting with something like this, like. Okay, but the basic idea, you know, you go through the 1, 4, 5 on each of them. You could hit it up here. Now, when I do that, I'm hitting the 5th of the 5 chord is the second degree. You could also do this, where you're hitting the minor third, you know, stay more in the pentatonic scale. But you could also do this. So, anyway, I have a couple more of these. We'll do a whole series of these, but just different ways to get fast texture and some rhythmic ideas that just use single notes. I'm not sure where this whole idea came from. I guess it was more of like, it came out of wanting to play more solos, but just sounding really tight. And I was thinking, okay, how can I go into a solo? This is like without, you know, no band, no backing track, just, you know, playing a song, and then it's time to solo. Just, you know, the key is you got to be solid. So you can't just be, you know, when there's no backing, when there is a backing track or a band, you can afford to lay back and just, you know, find your melody. Maybe something like that. But when there's, you know, when it's just you got to be like tight and right into it. So that's kind of like that was like the idea of like something like that. Anyway, it's kind of an exercise, but it's like, I feel it's going to help me with playing more leads and stuff like that. So anyway, try it out, make your own riffs, try it in different positions, and if you want to get my free blues course, just go to BluesGuitar.com/secrets. It's called 7 Blues Guitar Secrets that save you years of practice. I think it's some good stuff. So check it out, and we'll talk to you soon.